It's funny, I know an Amazing Stories episode that's exactly like this, where the wife keeps sending stuff down a hole in the ground and they keep sending back up gold? No, gems. They send up gems. Until she accidentally, she kills her abusive husband and sends his dead body down the well. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Yatagarasu. In fact, we're here for the penultimate episode of Yatagarasu. Now, normally we would come back with notes on the board, but there has not been any change to the board, really. I guess in hindsight I could have marked Jihei as alive, but it really seemed like he was killed, or killed himself, or something at the end of the episode, which then means that the change would be that I would mark him as alive, and then dead again, in which case the board remains unchanged. So, I don't know. So really that just means we're coming back with some notes. So let's go ahead and hop into those notes real quick. So, knowing that those are human bones, and so many of them, makes the area seem a lot less sacred. Could just be where the meal scraps are thrown, after hearing the whole salted meat thing from before. Still, it makes me wonder, if that really is the modern world out there, how are there so many dead to be piled up in this cave, to be unnoticed? Given the fantasy that is this setting, a lot of explanations would work. I mean, this could be a Bermuda Triangle kind of place, given how the barrier will turn you around and get you lost. That this place could be just where people go missing without ever being seen again, and it turns out that they just die. Or they could be the bones of people that vanished a long time ago, and history has forgotten. Roanoke, for example, or missing conquistador expeditions, or just lesser-known historical battle sites. Sorry, something's up with my voice today. Of course, I think I already put out there the what if on a post-apocalypse, the twist within a twist, that it's the real world out there, but we've already killed ourselves off. That's why the barrier's failing. That's why ghost fire is visible outside. That's why the monkeys are bothering to come inside to hunt for food. It's all that's left. I wonder if it's possible that King Saku himself might be human. He's the only one that's ever gone through the cave and come back. I mean, they said only one person has done it, so I'm assuming it's him. What if he never went out of the cave in the first place? That he just came in one way and was hailed as the first to go both ways? There just seems something special about him, and this would give him something more to be important for, story-wise, beyond his position in the underground. Like, it would make him the most knowledgeable about the outside, more so than even the prince, as well as making it a story point of explaining why he was in the caves to begin with. Dunno, might be pushing for a thing I hope is, rather than trying to suss out what could be. And I know it seems like the prince has a bunch of books about the outside where he's like jotted down everything he saw. But I think the element of if King Saku is from the outside, he would have a personal history of knowing everything out there. Like the prince may have jotted down a few notes on this is what a helicopter is, but Saku would know that's a helicopter. I can tell you. I mean, I'm not saying Saku would have like an encyclopedic knowledge of everything, but the difference between a natural-born citizen of the world versus a person who just sat outside and looked at things for a while. I like, you never know. You say these things about people who are like, oh, if I went back 100 years, I went back 1,000 years, I would conquer the world. And, same person doesn't know how a phone works or things like that, You just assume, being a modern person, that you're more advanced, but we don't know shit. Most of us. I will say that the fight scene between Five Monkeys and the Prince was a bit of a downer for me. Not because it was bad or anything, it was still a tense moment. More so, I think it weakens the horror and threat the monkeys are meant to impose. For one thing, they just rush into the sword and get taken down pretty easily every time the prince has to swing on them. Thinking back to that village, I guess either no one had a sword or the element of being drugged was the only way, or the only reason that they all got taken out. That and these monkeys had been stalking through the dark caves without any light, hunting down Yukiya and the prince. So why would making it dark again hinder them all that much? I get the element of being in the light and your eyes acclimating, but they were good in the dark and these two never were. The advantage should still definitely be on the monkeys. Well, I should have guessed. The image of the things that the prince wrote in his book was an untranslatable mess. As per something I said in Apothecary Diaries, there must be an AI behind that sort of thing on Google's end, because sometimes it translates gibberish into "what does this mean?" and it's beginning to seem more and more like that's the AI talking to itself. Either way, the prince saw all sorts of things in his time abroad. Most interestingly, though, I think, is that there are images of a spoon and fork and a hamburger, combined with the image of the buildings that looks more like Times Square than Shibuya Crossing to me, and an older model of train. I think we are either in New York or that the prince traveled to America from wherever this is all at. You know, if they didn't touch the horses when they killed everyone, and everyone can take that form, then that's the defense right there. Also, doesn't hurt that Yatagarasu can fly in that form, and the monkeys cannot fly at all. Everyone can literally just fly away on first contact with them. You know, we implied that the monkeys couldn't understand the language, but clearly there must be some of them that can, if all of this deal brokering was done. This isn't a simple thing to get across with like hand motions, tricking them by thinking that you are in one place and not another, exchanging bones for info, all of this. Getting across the desire for info or what that info would be would be incredibly difficult in and of itself with no language between you two. I appreciate that they set up that Jihei was desperate in trying everything, because my immediate first question would be that if no one was familiar with humans, why would they why would they buy, rather, any human bones? And then how the hell would they transition from bones to drugs? It's like finding a new animal in your backyard and a couple days later smoking its bones. It's crazy leap. Alright, my final note here. I have to imagine that either in fear for his daughter's life, for what he heard, or overheard rather, Jihei either tried to fake his own death, like he seemed to try and have done in the other village, or really did get himself killed. The thing is, if it was just a hanging body, I could see as maybe he hung himself to get out of what everyone might do to him, but also present himself to give his daughter an out. But the body is badly damaged and bleeding, implying what? That the monkeys attacked him? If so, they don't typically hang bodies up to display. It doesn't fit their MO, making me think this is something he did and not they did to him. I doubt that he beat the shit out of himself and then hung himself. So either this is something else, or he's faking his death. Or somebody else killed him. Obviously, that's obvious third option. Yeah. Anyway, that is it for my thoughts leading into this episode. Once again, penultimate episode. So, whatever we're getting into here, we're either going to be introduced to something else. We're either going to, I guess, wrap up on the monkey thing in the next two episodes. Or, when I say something else, what I'm saying is I think the likely bit to happen is maybe we're going to wrap up on a larger twist, like an "oh wow" sort of ending. You know, the barrier goes down, and what I said maybe like it's a post-apocalypse out there, and like oh, I didn't see that coming. The thing coming to my head. Oh, there's a show out there, famously I put out there has a great twist, and the show is filled with twists. But episode one is like whole episode is one thing, and at the very end of the episode, it's like oh, that's pretty good. And I always want to bring it up, but I never want to name it because the element is knowing that the episode has a twist kind of ruins your expectation. God, I believe I was watching somebody react to the first episode of Madoka Magica, and they were going over what they knew about it, and I was kind of like a little cheesed that one of them said, "Oh, I believe it's like your typical magical girl thing, but it has a twist." And it's like, "Oh, don't tell them there's a twist. You don't give away that there's a twist beforehand because if you don't know there's a twist, that's the point of the twist." But they were also pointing out that Madoka Magica had like warnings for violence and everything at the very beginning. It's like, yeah, I guess technically you got to include that shit. And if you didn't think there was going to be violence, that is spoiling itself too. So I don't want to like name an anime and tell people there's a twist about it because I don't want to ruin any the surprise factor. Because that's how I went into it. I didn't know there was a thing. I was like, why am I watching? I don't know why I watched to begin with. Actually, I do know. And I can't get into that either because I'd be ruining a thing too, and it might indicate to people what the hell I'm talking about. I guess to a lesser example, and there's a twist here, but it doesn't ruin anything because the main show isn't about that. Tower of Druaga, for example. Most people didn't like the show because the first episode is played off as a joke, and then the second episode onward is not that way at all. Because the first episode is the character is having a concussion. So the first episode is like jokey cartoon shit and tropes and everything all over the place, telling basically sort of a story of what's going on and what will happen, but it's from a character's dream state. At the very end of the episode, he's waking up and realizing he's been knocked out the entire time. And then the real show starts beginning, and everyone's like expectations from episode 1. I was like, what happened to that show? So yeah, that sort of thing. Anyway, I've kind of on a huge tangent here. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. Let's go ahead and hop on in and see what the penultimate episode gets us.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Who's dead? Oh, your dad. Sorry. What? I'm sorry too. Who's dead? Oh, her dad. Obviously. Sorry. What's he sorry to? Yep. Cord lines from the hanging from the rope. Who's dead? Oh, obviously her dad. I completely forgot the next time on was, or last scene, last episode. Even I brought up my notes. Up the lines from hanging from a rope. Did they carve something into his chest? Or did they rip him open? Sorry, it's just the moment we saw the body there. My mind didn't go to him hanging from a rope at the end of the episode. My mind went to, oh god, what's her name? The mother, going to tell her that she had bad news. And I was thinking, oh god, did she like stab the mother to death or something? But that wouldn't make any sense. Obviously, Because I was like, oh no, she found out our secret. Da, 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 da. Stab, stab, stab. But there's no way that Yukiya would be showing her the dead body of the mother if she had been the one to do it. Like, none of it made any sense in my mind. Or didn't make any sense whatsoever. It was all in my mind. Well, I guess... Here's the thing. I always put out there that maybe he faked his own death, but maybe this was like a self-sacrifice. Maybe he did tell the monkeys, hey, kill me and hang me up. And they tore out his insides. Like, I don't know why. He said, you don't want to see this. Although I guess that'd probably be shocking to everybody if he was hanging out there with all those guts hanging out. Oh, maybe he did seppuku. He's not a samurai. The idea that you would and then twist and then up, right? And that might open you up to your shit falling out. Hey, the doctor guy.
昨日、下原で遊女が死んだ。カラスの姿で燃えたかまどに頭を突っ込んだそうだ。お前心当たりはないか？そういや、下原のクソシんとこに女が出入りしてたな。あれ、売人じゃないかな。
But you're not a physician.
若い女ですよ。姉さんかぶりで、顔はよく見えなかったけど。そうだ、ほくろがあった。確かこの辺りに。遺体は自閉
clearly
された。吊るされる前に生きたまま皮を剥がされたようだ。自ら撒いた。
The thing is that he was in the flashback of people selling sage cap, apropos of nothing else in the scenes.
朝廷を使って自閉をあぶり出し、のこのこ出てきたところを横取りする。作法にしてやられましたな。
その文は
遺体にくくりつけてあった。あとはこちらでやれということだろう。自閉の文だ。
Really, the blood looks pixelated.
娘にも見せて筆跡を確認させた。間違いない。もはや自閉の尋問は叶わぬ。これが奴の最後の声だ。井戸が枯れた。それが全ての始まりでした。
I guess this is one way to frame a flashback. So I don't need you think you need this. Once I heard dry well, I understood where everything came from. Oh yeah. Medicinal properties of the water from his well. Because of the bones. They said he mixed up a little bit of the bone.
幼い娘は働きに、私は酒と博打に明け暮れ、玉の幸運で手に入れた金で古い井戸を買い取りました。まだ水が湧くという話を信じ、藁にもすがる思いで。ここもダメか。神様どうか水をお戻しください。
I mean, you just heard it splashing. It's something.
まさか。神様。
Like I said, some of them have to be able to talk. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to pass this information back and forth.
水を戻してくださるのですか？
残念だがそれはできない。だがお礼にいいものをやろう。クスシのところに持っていけ。
クスシ？
もっと欲しければ酒を入れてくれ。匂いがしたらまた来よう。
Okay, so it's less crazy that they started making drugs out of it. Because he just got told, take this to a physician.
仙人街という呼び名を知るのはもう少し後のことで。私は神の恵みだと疑わず。
It's funny, I know an Amazing Stories episode that's exactly like this, where the wife keeps sending stuff down a hole in the ground and they keep sending back up gold? No, gems. They send up gems. Until she accidentally, she kills her abusive husband and sends his dead body down the well. And then they send up more gold, or a lot more gems or something.
お許しください。それだけは。
よほど大事なのだな。他の女でも構わんよ。もっとたくさんの仙人街をやろう。それでお前の大事な女を喜ばせてやるのはどうだ。
I'll say the difference here is that Amazing Stories episode, they didn't saw what was down there. They would just send up messages. Like the dead body, they're like, we don't like this kind of meat, send us something else. I feel like you could not imply more strongly, that that was the toilet room. Which means that when she first ran into the place looking for her dad, she checked the toilet first.
そんなある日のことを。いいことを思いついたぞ。一度にたくさんの獲物を取る方法だ。お前はもう狩らなくていい。次からは私の仲間を狩り場へ案内してくれ。
And it's just how they got to that place, yeah. And they must have had instructions not to mess with anything in her chest, because that's why he put his daughter into a chest.
私は化け物と手を切る決意をしました。折しも地下街が仙人街の売人を探しているという噂があり、
菅生に行商？なんで私まで？
菅生を最後に娘を連れて中央を離れることにしたのです。そして酒の亀に眠り薬を。
Which is what fucked up everybody in that town.
娘には知られぬように。
You know, for trying to get away from the monsters, he sure brought them with him.
あの二人が現れるまでは。油断をするな。小梅、逃げるぞ。目を覚ませ、小梅。
I'm glad that they show he's got like 5 pages of notes, because this is a long ass note.
治兵衛は小梅を置いて逃げるより他なくなった。一方、薬で眠らされた小梅は菅生の惨劇を知らぬまま、たる日の強盗屋敷で目を覚ました。治兵衛は死も覚悟して姿を現したのだろう。自分のせいで地下街と朝廷に目をつけられた娘の無実を証明し、
Again, reasonable, like I said before.
全ては治兵衛の仕業だった。詳細な経過、当人しか知り得ぬ事実、いずれも信用に値する。この文は治兵衛の懺悔だ。
When you do those stringing tones and look at people's faces, should probably have some sort of reaction.
やっこさん、本当にこれで釣れるのかね。
さあ、自兵の文にはそうありましたが、けどいいんですか？御前会議の前にこんなことして、また何か言われるんじゃ。
会議になれば早急に井戸を塞げと老人たちが騒ぎ立てるのは目に見えている。声の正体を確かめるのなら今しか機会はない。
How would you
あ
though?
の文を
Doesn't mean one of the monkeys talking, unless you're saying there's somebody else down there with the monkey.
どんなに娘を持って
Could be fair, could be true.
化け物にYatagarasu
But I would have just implied it was King Saku if that was that case.
ずっと黙っていたんですよ。菅生に同行した二人の男のことを父親をかばうためとはいえ。
そこにいるのは誰だ？
お前こそ何者だ？
ああ、そうか。見つかったか。ここはいい井戸だったが。
Seems like two of them down there.
我らの仲間を殺したのは。
Oh no, that's Yatagarasu. Just with the monkey eyes for some reason.
かわいそうに子供も殺された。
お前たちが襲った集落でもヤタガラスの子供が殺された。私には私の民を守る義務がある。ヤタガラスに危害を加えようとする者に手段を選んではいられない。
お前、もしやヤタガラスどもの長か。
私は誠の
Oh, never mind, that is a monkey. I thought I saw a beak.
そうか、誠の金か。また会えて嬉しいよ。いや、初めましてと言うべきか。
何が言いたい？話に乗るな。分かっている。お前はどこから来た？猿の一味か？であれば、なぜお前だけ言葉を話す？なぜヤタガラスを食った？
そう焦るな。
Somebody he met outside when he was traveling those years ago.
ヤタガラスどもは都合の悪いことは忘れて生き延びてきた。だが今、そのツケを払う時が来ているのだ。
何のことだ？
山内の崩壊の話さ。わからんか？己のかけたところに手を当て考えろ。
Does Yatagarasu not have hearts? Again, I'm saying they gotta have light bones, considering the falls that they survived too. Who is it that would know him since he had only Ka? What is the clue here? For some reason I'm going to like his brother, but it's definitely not his brother.
小梅、そろそろ支度を。
わかったわかった。
Again, every horse is technically a person. They just can't shapeshift back.
小梅の今後についてだな。今回の件を承知の上で預かろうと申し出てくれたお方がいてね。
小梅は身寄りがないし、かといって大花宮に置くわけにも。私たちも頭を悩ませていたところです。
Was he gonna join the Yuki's family?
ですね。しかし、その奇特なお方とは一体？
浜優様、まさか。そのまさかだ。昨日たる日より、あずさ殿が訪ねてくれ
Yeah, I was say it was already put out
な
there.
るべく早く大花宮から小梅を引き取って帰りたいと。母上は何を考えてるんだ。小梅は
So? And unless she knew about it, which she didn't, apparently.
罪人のこの肩書きは小梅には重すぎると。
母と話してきます。
ユキヤ。
今朝届いたゴーリの報告書です。小梅はまだ何か隠している。母に説明して考え直してもらいます。
Don't be an ass, Yukiya.
待ちなさい。
She kept you despite all the problems you would bring.
僕は冷静ですよ。
お前がそう言って冷静だった試しがあるか。
失礼します。
行くな。これは命令だ。
俺はあんたに忠誠を誓った覚えなんかない。
Feel like you did. Conditionally, but I feel like you did. Also, very clearly, Yukiya is in the wrong here.
ユキヤ。君が母上に頼んだんですね。タルヒには来ないでください。僕は君が信用できない。
ユキヤが怒るのも当然ね。
The last episode's gonna be Yukiya's villain turn? What the hell?
みんな登場して親切にしてくれたのに。私のせいでユキヤが地下街に行くと聞いたときは胸が張り裂けそうだったわ。でもね、ユキヤ、私本当に知らなかったのよ。スゴで起きたことも父がしでかしたことも、今だってあの気の弱い父がって信じられなくて。
下原に女の売人がいたそうです。
下原？
ええ。
We did see that. She brought something to the doctor and he gave her money.
用心深く顔は隠していたようですが、右目の下に
Damning.
が2つ並んであったそうです。ちょうど君み
Oh wait, that girl that went missing also had moles under her eyes, according to what's his name.
本当に知らなかったんですか？
それは私じゃない。
嘘を言ったってすぐに。
Yeah, so it could have been that other girl. We could have been trying to get full. I didn't even think about that back then. That's pretty good. It's pretty good if I had been smart enough to keep up with it.
いえ、何でもありません。私、そろそろ失礼します。
待て。まだ話は。
じゃあね、ユキヤ。
母上は騙されています。
騙す？
彼女はずるくて計算高い。最初から母上の善意を見抜いて取り入ろうとしていたんです。
一体何を根拠にそう思うの？
父親に全ての罪を着せて何食わぬ顔でいい暮らしを手に入れようとしているんですよ。よりにもよって猿の犠牲になったタルヒに住みたいとねだるなんて。
タルヒに来るよう小梅に勧めたのは私です。それもさっき断られてしまったけど。
Damn it, Yukiya.
ご好意は本当にありがたく思います。ですが、
She joined in the temple? That looked like one of the temple people came to pick her up.
小梅、それは父は私には優しかった。とんでもないろくでなしでしたけど。ユキヤにももう会うことはないと思いますから、よろしくお伝えください。ありがとうございました。今のあなたは怒りで目が曇っているように母は感じます。そもそも恨みを晴らすことと罪を償わせることは全く違うのです。
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking true.
本当は何が起こっているのかを見失ってはいけませんよ。
That's why, that's why people that have paid their reparations have done their time. Adding more shit on top of it because you feel like doesn't make much sense.
似た娘が城下からカゴに乗るのを見た者がいるらしい。今名月彦が山内。
Oh, I guess maybe she didn't join the
僕のせいで
temple.
ま
I guess that was just
こ
somebody
れで
escorting
小梅
her.
が売人だってことははっきりした。お前の睨んだ通りだったな。
本当にそうでしょうか。
ん？
実際のところほくろ程度じゃ証拠にならない。仮に小梅が売人だとしても慌てて逃げる必要はない。じゃあなぜ姿を消した？まさか。
じゃあね、ユキヤ。
私を追いかけて来いと。自分のことを疑う僕を利用して。
I mean, you just told her you suspected her. I mean, in any other circumstance, this would be an insane idea. Did that girl turn me down because she wants me to chase her? No, you idiot.
殿下、僕は大事なことを見落としていたかもしれません。
初音ちゃんはいるかい？はーい。お客さんだよ。あんたの妹かね？妹？
Oh, the mother. Also could be the one selling the drugs. I doubt it. There's no connection between the mother and the father. Obviously, no current connection.
久しぶり、お母さん。
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck are we gonna end with? There's only one episode left. I mean, I enjoy that we have, like, this threat to the country and the looming fall of the entire, well, I guess country still, but we're also still dealing with very personal matters, which is very much like the original arc, right? We went from the importance of who's going to lead and all of the specific, north, south, east, and west trying to vie for the position and push their own thing forward. Essentially, an entire country's worth of plot surrounded on the backs of the stories of 5 to 6 people. And now we're dealing with, the stories of basically like 3 people and still arguably the same amount of consequence. Although granted, now we know the monkeys aren't like planning a full-scale invasion or anything. They're just hunting for food or pleasure, I don't know. The element that's just dude in the ground, and I don't know what his I knew you since all you could do was caw thing. It's definitely not the mom, because she's dead. I mean, actually, we know that whole plot point, so clearly wouldn't be anyone related to that era.
小梅を追い空をかける雪へ、そして明かされる誠の金雨たる者の宿命。すべてを知った雪夜が選び取る道とは。次回、金のカラス。
Don't really know what's implied there by the fate of a true Kinyu. I mean, we know only like one appears in every generation or so. So I'm gonna guess a true Kinyu has to sacrifice their life to keep the barrier up. Sort of a, the one in the Matrix, right? They have to give up their life to keep the cycle going. Otherwise, I don't know what else. Like, again, what I was talking about before. I don't know the I knew you before you could call thing. Unless the implication is there's like an immortal monkey, and that monkey made a deal with the Yatagarasu, or either that, or just one that knows the deal that the Yatagarasu made to seal themselves off. Like maybe the monkeys are the ones that keep the barrier up from the outside. I don't know. I mean, I see in my mind that that's the thing that makes the most sense to me. That the prince is going to sacrifice his life in order to keep the seal up, which I guess would be a way to finish off the show. Although clearly that does not read to me as an end to the series. Because again, we have so many other characters. I'd be like, well, what happens to them? And because the show would be like implying that that they just went off and had a life, right? But for me, that's never a satisfying ending. Only from the aspect of I would just stay with these characters forever. Let's do a One Piece 1,000 episodes of, and then they had kids, and then their kids had kids, and then their kids had kids had kids. It's like, I'll be with you forever. Make a good story about characters that I want to watch, and I'm here forever. Take my money. The same way that I talk about with Dan to Dan, the element that the two main characters in that show, I don't even care about the fighting or the supernatural shit. I could just watch them doing a high school rom-com. Yeah, it would be great. I am interested in those characters. I could watch those characters forever. Well, the same thing here. They have gone so in depth with the politics and how everything works, and then how the characters are interrelated to one another, that I could be watching this forever. Unfortunately, again, the element that we know, there's only one episode left, and as far as I can tell, nothing on the horizon. This isn't even like Made in Abyss, where 2 years ago, we finished Made in Abyss, and it was like, well, they said there's going to be more, so 6 years, we're in for the 6-year wait. No hint of this. This could be, whatever that old school anime from the 80s was, where the space princess comes down to conquer Earth and falls in love with the guy. And then 20-something years later, they rebooted it and made a new one. And Ranma 1/2, same thing. That this could be 20 years from now. Well, we're going to start adapting more stuff. It's like, oh, I'm here for it. Oh, actually, I probably will be. No, I mean, I'll be like 60-something at that point. I imagine as fast as my health has been going down, if I'm still around at 60, probably won't even be able to do this anymore. Anyway, I don't know what's going to be implied by the mother thing. Obviously, it seemed like they were having a physical altercation there, which I have to believe probably indicates something towards she left and didn't want to see anybody again. Because it didn't seem like she fought to stay with her daughter or take her daughter with her, which might mean that she just wanted out of the entire situation, or that she's not even really her mother. She's just the woman that was there when the father was. The element maybe father had her with a different woman, or found her, whatever. So many situations can happen to cause a foster father, stepfather situation. I do not, and I say this with some trepidation, I do not enjoy that they've introduced new mysteries in the penultimate episode. Only in that, I know that there's only one episode left, which means that either they are going to have to solve them or answer them in one episode, or we're going to be left with mysteries unsolved by the end of the show. And sure, it's fun sometimes, and it's interesting to just be like, I wonder how this happened, and then speculate for years, But I would have also liked for this show to have gone on. So. Alright, well, I think that's going to be it for now, because obviously I'm going to come back with more notes and probably speculation about those things. But we're just going to find out next time, so, once again, I have been Theta, this has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?